facility maintenance strategy. We also looked at maintenance planning and records. Today we want to look at quality and quality. Let me put- Right. So before we go into today's topic proper, I will do the usual thing. Let me get feedback, take home for anybody that want to speak right now. Any take home from last week's topic, facility planning and record, facility maintenance planning and record. Anybody want to go? Anybody? Maintenance planning and record. Remember, we looked at the records that you can keep as a facilities manager to ensure the proper running of your facility. We understood that records helps us to for budgeting. It also helps us to do a lot of things when it comes to um, going back history to what we have done. With the record, you are able to improve your facilities management performance. So there are so many things we do. We look at the work order, and we say that it's an action tool, a tracking tool, and also an action tool. With the work order, jobs are executed, and with the work order, you are able to, get paid. So we look at inventory, how important as a facilities manager you must track your inventory, you must define your minimum stock level, your buffer level for your inventory. You must also determine what are the frequently used parts, items, so that you can do more stocking of that. So it's a general thing we learned that in facilities, maintenance, planning, and record. So anybody want to try? Anybody want to give me, whatever your take home for Friday. I'm going to call names, so just be warming up. So let me hear from Taiwo Olusegun, Emiko, Peter, Crowder. Get ready. You're going to say something today.
Good evening, class.
Yeah, good evening.
Actually, what I can tell, what I took home was that before then, I don't normally keep records, but with this record, with the lecture, I was able to know my lapses, and that is just what I can say.
All right, that's good. Emiko, let's hear you. Emiko is ghosting us. All right. Okay. Okay, you can't talk right now. Okay. Okay. No problem. Well done. So, what? Let's just go into today's class. Quality management, FM quality management. Remember our house rule. Please put your phone on silent, and if you are on a place that you'll be distracted, try as much as possible to pay attention. Our course objective today is we are going to learn the list the determinants of FM service quality. Now we are going to list the things that determine FM service quality. What are the things? What are the factors? What are the KPIs? What are the requirements that at the end of the day you would have said that you have delivered quality service? We are going to look at some tools, quality improvement tools, the things you do, the tools you implement to improve quality. Remember, quality is centered on the customer. Whatever you are doing is to satisfy your client, your customer. So we are going to look at the tools that will enhance our performance. We are going to also highlight two examples each of external and internal factors. What are the factors that can affect your quality? What are the factors that can influence quality delivery? We know that some are external and some are internal. External, looking at it through the SWOT analysis. Internal, looking at it through the pestle analysis. So we are going to look at those two. Then we are going to define service specification. For every service you want to provide, there are specifications, there are requirements. So we are going to look at that. We are going to define KPI. As facilities managers, this is one term that you will come across, like every day in your contracts, in your day-to-day operations. You want to discuss your KPIs and how to achieve them. And because these are key performance indicators that show, step by step at every milestone if you are meeting requirements. Now we are going to describe how benchmarking affects FM service quality. Benchmarking is what we do when we try to compare what we're doing and compare what we are doing with what is happening in the industry, and go from one industry to another to compare what is happening, or we go to one from one professional body to the other to know what is happening. All right. Now the model model one will be FM quality. What is quality to FM? How does FM, how do we look at quality, right? Then module two will be FM quality objectives. We are going to look how we can look into if we can set quality objectives, and our quality objectives should be centered on the customer. Then we are going to look at the quality metrics. There are so many things you can put together, metrics to measure your performance. So this quality metrics helps us to measure performance. Now we are also going to look at FM quality indicators, just like the key performance indicators. Those parameters that will help you or show that you are meeting customers' requirements. Then we are going to look at a few statistical tools. This will just do a surface explanation of statistical tools that you can use in analyzing your operations to come up with an objective result or report for management decision. Now, quality management system. Generally, it is that part of management system or that part of an organization that deals with what? With quality, ensuring that an organization delivers on their goals, their objectives. And there are some principles when you are implementing quality management system. There are some principles when you are implementing quality management system, number one principle when you are implementing quality is the customer. When you are talking about quality, you talk about the customer. You must be customer focused. You see, when the organization at the strategic level, when they are coming up with their value proposition, they are looking at the customer. They want to see how they can satisfy the requirements, the need of the customer, and that is what brings business. Any deviation from that, you are not implementing the principle of quality. Then the next principle is leadership. There must be leadership commitment in everything you are doing. For you to implement a quality management system that works, then leadership, management, top management should be able to show commitment. In fact, any work you are doing, even as an FM, if you don't have management backing, you cannot really deliver on the objective. So leadership commitment involve the leaders, the top management, setting up the quality policy, drawing out objectives on how to achieve those quality, putting down resources, releasing fund and everything. So there must be that commitment to achieving the goal. Then the next principle is the engagement of people. There is no way an organization can function or succeed without having people. You have people in the very top level, you have people in the middle level, you have people in the shop floor. So you must engage people, and these people are not just coming, just to occupy space. One way or the other, you are delivering in one thing or the other. In fact, you are bringing value to the table. Once you are not bringing value to the table, then they will, of course, you'll be shown the way out. So engagement of people is very important. And in quality management system, we advise that the people you are engaging must be taken care of, must be treated well for them to deliver quality. You don't have a sick person and you tell the sick person to go and carry out or go and close out a job at a customer's premises. There's possibility that there's going to be an incident there. Then in quality management system, we do what we call process approach, as in we take things one by one. There must be an input to a process and an output from that process. And that output becomes the input to another process. For example, the HR manager. One thing the HR manager must deliver to the facilities manager is competent workforce. That competent workforce now becomes an input into the facilities management process. So the organization is a system of processes, one process linking to the other process. So quality management system is telling us that for you to have effective system, effective organization, you must deal with issue process by process. You approach issues, by process, where you have input to that process, you have resources, you have control, and you have output. When you have input, you have the resources to do the work, you have the control in like procedures and policies that we hold that process together, and then you have your output. Then another principle is the improvement. No, whatever you are doing in quality management system, you must show improvement from year to year. There must be an improvement. The key principle is that what you are doing today, if you do it very well, it will help you to do better tomorrow. So there's that continual improvement in quality, and that's why we use tools like PDCA, plan, do, check, and act. So it's a tool that helps you to keep you improving your process. Then we have what we call the evidence-based decision. In quality management system, decisions are not made by hearsay or how you feel. There must be evidence. You must show evidence. We talked about records the other day. Records are evidence. So if you say you've done something, you must show the evidence that you have done it. If you say management should write off that generator and get a new one, you must show your evidence, your evidence, your statistics, your data to allow management take that kind of decision. Management cannot take that kind of decision based on what you're saying or what you're feeling. So generally, quality management is what? Evidence-based decision making. You don't make decision just from the air. You must make decision based on statistics, based on evidence, based on benchmarking, based on everything that one can see and hold. Then relationship management. Quality management system deals with relationship management. And when we talk about relationship management, we are talking about, for example, your vendors. How do you relate with them? Do you have vendors that when you call them and call them, you can call them from now till tomorrow and they will tell you, you will see me now. I'm on my way, you will see me now. And they will never show up. It's because you don't have a good relationship with them. It's either you are not paying them on time, you are owing them too much, or you are not engaging them. And that's why in quality management system, we do what we call vendor evaluation. So you bring all your vendor, you evaluate them, and you rank them in such a way that the ones that are highly ranked, it means you can reach out to them, they are dependable. So these are the principles of quality management system. Now, what is quality? A few people came up with the idea, of quality. Crosby said that is the idea of conformance to requirements. Now, this person is saying that quality is all about conformance to requirements. If you have your customer requirements, for example, a customer issues you a PO stating all what he wants on that PO. Your job is to comply to those requirements. So that's quality for Crosby. Then another person said that quality must be satisfied, as in it's to satisfy customers' need. Yes, very, very important. For example, if your customer or your occupant, you're running an hotel and the occupant say, I need just fan in my room. I don't need air conditioner. I just need a fan in my room. And because you want to please the customer beyond his need, and you are saying, no, we are going to give you 2 horsepower AC in the room. In fact, we are going to chill up the place. You have missed that quality target because you are trying to please the customer, but what the customer wants is fun. So you have not satisfied that need. So we look at our customer, we look at our client, what do they need? And that's what we aim at, giving to them. So another person said that quality is fitness for purpose, fitness for use. It's just like you bought a phone and for one reason or the other, you cannot use the functionality of the phone. It doesn't meet your need. There are certain things you want to do and you can't do it. So it's not fit for use. Then Walter said that quality must be measured in objective and subjective terms. This means that, when you are operating a manufacturing company, it's easy to measure quality. It's easy to determine quality because for a manufacturing company, every product has specification. There are quality criteria around that product. For example, if maybe a loaf of bread, you look at the length, the breadth, the height, and all that. So it is measured, it is objective. Your phone, it will be like, oh, the weight and all that. It is something very objective. But in the service company, quality is not objective. Quality is subjective because something a person considers to be quality delivery might turn out to be, not good for another person because this deals with perception. So quality in the service industry is different from quality in the manufacturing industry. And what we are doing, we are in the service industry. So we work with perception. We look at customers' perception, how they perceive our service. Now, what is quality? Quality can be easy availability. If a client just wants that what he needs must be available, that is quality. For example, power supply. I don't have to come to my house and be afraid that maybe by 9 p.m. there will be power cuts. No, I want to be confident that the power will remain there 24 hours. I won't have anything to worry about. So it's easily available. Then we have user friendly. I made an example of a phone. You know, you are using your phone and you cannot use some functionality, or you have so much functionality on it, then the simple things you cannot do. So you want a product, a service that is user friendly. Then aesthetic appeal. Now, quality to FM is aesthetic. If I come into your facility, I want to see that everything is clean, well arranged, the garden is well prone, and everything is in place the way it is. You know, so aesthetic is very important. Then nice feature, we have nice feature, we have proven reliability. Reliability is also important for any individual that requires quality. Quality to FM is that that generator is reliable. Once there's power cuts, just immediately it picks off, it picks up without any problem. So that is reliability. Then low cost. You must deliver your service to your clients at the most reasonable cost. Like we've been discussing in FM, the goal is to reduce cost reduction. So if you are giving me services and the, I mean, I'm seeing a reduction in cost, then I'll be happy. Good after sales service. How do we communicate to our clients, our occupants, after we must have delivered a service? You know, it's very important to have that interaction. You want to know how they feel about your service. You want to know, you want to get feedback if you have done well. Sometimes when you call them or you meet them, they become very happy and they can rate you very well. All right. Manifest durability. For items that are durable, I want to see that they meet their useful life span. Simple to maintain, perceived value, environmentally friendly, prompt delivery. And for FM, what we need is prompt delivery of our services. Now, you don't need an occupant or your client to make a request, and maybe the SLA to that request is, say, 3 hours for you to close out, and within 3 hours you'll not be able to do it. You span over 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and sometimes you can't even close it out for that day. Response is very important. So prompt delivery is important. Quality is a process of confirming customers' expectations, establishing performance standards and metrics based on those expectations. First, for you to deliver quality, you must understand the customer's expectations. Then you now begin to establish metrics to measure that expectation. All right. Definitions of FM quality. What does quality look like in the FM world? We've talked about it. What does it look like in the FM world? As an FM, what does quality look like to you? We've spoken about what quality looks like for the manufacturing company. They look at specific criteria, requirements, measure. Some they use weighing scale, which you need to calibrate before you measure to give you the accurate measure. But for FM, we see quality in a different way because we are service providers, and in the service industry, quality is perception of the customer. So number one is visually clean and well-maintained buildings. If I walk into your facility and it is visually clean and well-maintained, then you are delivering quality. And this view of quality is very difficult to achieve, because when you have people working in your facility and they are not able to understand this criteria, they may not be able to deliver on it. Visually clean and well-maintained building. How do you keep a place that a building that has a very high frequency of users, and maybe that day there was rain and everything? So you need to really work hard to ensure that that place is clean, well-maintained. Number two is a healthy balance sheet. Now, for everything you are doing, your work, you are showing that you are closing out issues on time. You are showing that your cost is within the limits that your client wanted. Work processes that are in alignment with strategic directions. So we've said this during our maintenance strategy. By the time you are coming with your own work process, it must align with the strategic direction. It must align with management strategic direction. Work processes that are delivered consistently and effective operational outcomes. There must be consistency in the work you are doing. So quality is about, in fact, quality management system is about consistency. My class right now. Quality management system is about consistency. Hello, Barakat, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you, sir.
Okay, because I saw a call coming in. I thought it's from. All right. So quality management system is about consistency. When you implement a successful quality management system, you'll see that when people leave your organization, and you employ a new set of staff, they can easily flow into the business. They can easily pick up and work without so much supervision and coaching. Why? Because you have proper documentation, proper processing of the work. So anybody that comes in is just like people that are doing factory work, where you just come in, the machine is running, you don't need to stop the machine. As this person is stepping out, another person is taking over in the next shift, and the work just continues, without stopping. So that's what quality management system will do. It will put processes in place so that your work will be consistent. If you are delivering a particular weight of product, and another person comes in to do that same work, that person will deliver the same weight of product. So that's consistency. Effective FM monitoring and auditing tools, assessing operational performance. Okay, IT infrastructure that is scalable, implementable, and fully supports the FM operation. So for this, there are IT infrastructure that are, we use in the FM industry. For example, the CMMS, which we talked about. This application should be able to expand when there is an increase in a workload in the system. For example, you are closing out, say, 100 issues or defects in a day, and all of a sudden there's an increase in closing out of a job order. Your IT infrastructure should be able to expand to accommodate that. So when you are coming in, when you are doing your work, it becomes easier to deliver on your work. Compliance with building safety and fire codes. Your facility must comply with building safety and fire code. Like we discussed the other day, the key stakeholder that you must not joke with is the government. All the statutory regulation, the codes and everything is something that you must monitor, you must evaluate, and you must keep it updated every day, because you must also understand what are the codes that are changing, what are the safety rules or laws that are changing for my facility, so that you put these things in place. All right. Now, quality objective. The objective of quality is simple. Get it right the first time. As an FM, we do not encourage the trial by trial by error. How do you put it? Trial and error or something. You must get it right the first time. So whatever you are doing, because number one, we look at the KPIs. One of the KPI is zero rework. No client want to entertain rework. So whatever you are doing, you must get it right the first time. And that's key to, that's the objective of quality. For you to get things right the first time, you must pay attention to detail. You must understand customer satisfaction. And of course, when you get things right the first time, you save money and you save time. Nobody wants to pay repeatedly on a job that is done. So as an FM, this objective is very important. You get it right the first time. All right, what is right? Right defined by customer, what, how, and when. So for you to get things right the first time, you must know what it is. You must know how. You must know when to do it and where it is happening. So these are the things you look at to get things right the first time. And you define standards and best practice. It's not only you coming up with your own ideas. You must look at what is happening in the industry. What are the best practices that you can bring in to your industry? Quality, the standard of something as measured against other things of a similar kind, or the degree of excellence of something, or quality of life. These are just definition of quality. But the general term is that quality looks at requirements, meeting customers' requirements, satisfying customer, fit for use, and getting things right the first time. All right, getting things right the first time starts with you. You must have that personal accountability, self-evaluation, and reality check. You must be passionate. Now, facilities management job, like we said, is an advanced how do I put it now? Boy job, where it is thankless, but you must have your desire. You must be passionate in the approach to the work. You must be passionate and be ready to do it, because people will call you at odd hours. People will call you when you are just about putting your bags together and leaving the office. You'll be called. You must be passionate and willing to solve problems. So you must be focused. The focus is what the customer, like we said before, you must understand customer requirements. You must also understand their expectation and work as much as possible to meet them. All right, let us look at FM quality metrics. Now, FM quality measure, this include reduction in frequency of rework. Now, for you to give your client the best, one of the ways is reduction in the frequency of rework. This is a measure that, in fact, in your contract, you can even have this as part of the SLA. They will tell you that for every rework, you have to pay the client for that rework. So it means that for you to overcome these metrics, you must, number one, do your planning very well. Understand the scope of that work. Understand the SLA of that work. Understand the resources that are required for that work. Ensure that you have a trained personnel that can do the work. Ensure that the material that you are getting, the quality material from your approved suppliers, then you ensure that at least you put all these controls, then you are most likely to get it right the first time. But if you don't do all that, especially one challenge that we have is getting the right material. If you don't have the right suppliers to give you the right material, you end up doing rework. Number two is reduction of customers' complaints. How you need to, is a statistic that you check how often does your client, call your management that work is not going on well, there are issues, or you are not doing well at site? So there must be reduction in customer complaint. There are some metrics, there are some SLA that will tell you if we have up customer complaints within the week, then this is the penalty. You'll be penalized for that. Increase commendations. We want to see how often the customer commends your work. In fact, there is a company that we worked. One of their requirements is that during the business performance review meeting that we have quarterly, you need to showcase the commendation letters that you've received from the client. You want to show how many people told you thank you. How many people sent you a commendation letter to say, oh, the work you are doing is good? How many people gave you a positive feedback? You will show the email, you will show the conversation. So this also is very important. As an FM, look out for commendation. After finishing your work, send them an email and say, oh, we finished this work, we've closed out on this work, we've done this and that and that and that. We sure that everything is in place. Please let us have your feedback. How do you feel about it? That way it will improve your work. Yes, sometimes you get an email that will tell you, look, okay, you did this and that, but yet you didn't do this well. Yes, that's a good response, and that will help you to improve. Then another measure is the improvement in process efficiency. You are running a particular process, for example, the request handling process. When you raise a request, the FM picks it up, scope the work, assign it to the technician. The technician goes to execute the work, and the customer approves the work and all that. Is that process working? There's some process that you need to go to your coordinator or to your manager for approval all the time. That process might be, making the whole, elongating the time close. Say, okay, fine. Why don't we consider this approval for improve in process efficiency? Look at your process, do your work, the way you carry out requests, the way you manage your work, then improve on it. Number of initiatives introduced. This is very key. In your work, you also want to show the number of initiatives you have brought in. And remember, initiative that you are bringing in must show positive value. It must affect the business positively. Don't bring an initiative that is very flamboyant. At the end, when management want to implement it, it will now be costing the management more. For example, when we are having economic share problem, we couldn't import, so we now said, okay, what do we do? Because we are employing more people and they need to have economic shares. What we did was go to the store, the bad ones, we brought them out, we removed the parts that were good, and we used that to refurbish and produce more chairs for the staff. So that way we save the client so much money, because getting an ergonomic chair then was about 500K per one, but with 6,000-7,000 naira we're able to put one together. So that's an initiative that brings value to the table, that puts value to the business. So as an FM, you also want to show at the end of every quarter what initiative you brought in. For example, you have your fluorescent bulb everywhere consuming energy. You can go to management and say, fine, we can start using energy bulbs at some location to cut down on our energy consumption. That's initiative. There are many initiatives you can bring on board. Reduction in mean time between failures. The mean time between failures should be reduced. Increase customer satisfaction index. For example, if your customer satisfaction index is 90%, as in at the end of the year, when you carry out your survey of customers' perception and you do your analysis and everything, you must get up to maybe the SLA is that you must get up to 90%, but you want to push it higher. You want to get up to 95% or 98%. We know that 100% customer perception is almost impossible, but we need to push it high that at least 95% of our customers are saying, good about us. Building user productivity. You also want to check the productivity of those using your facility. They want to come to work and be able to work without all the internal problems, without the AC not working, without the internet not connecting, without the seats bad and all that. So our work, like we know, is that we support the core business. We give them the environment to work and to deliver on their work. So you check yourself based on you measure yourself based on your users' productivity. Factors influencing FM quality improvement. We talked about it a little. For example, is the external factors. What are the external factors that affect FM quality? Because there are certain things you want to do, and with these external factors, you can never get a good result. It's just like somebody that is doing cleaning on a rainy day, on a muddy environment. That person is going to work, and it will seem as if he's not doing well. That factor is external. You can't stop the rain from falling, and you can't stop people from coming in with their dirty shoes and all that. So those are factors that you really don't have control over, but you need to put a contingency plan around it. For a facility like that, where rain is falling and people are coming in, then you need to double up your cleaning. You need to put up a cleaner to deal with that. I don't know who is just disturbing me. Let me just pick this call and tell him. All right, sorry about that. Okay, external factor, weather and climate. External factor, natural disaster, flood, earthquake, political, economic, and social stability. So these are external factors that can affect your business. Political, economic, we know what happens when there's a change in policies. It affects your deliverables. Now, age and gender demographic. Age and gender. Then we have the geographical consideration, elevation, closeness to water source and all that. Rural versus urban. When you have your facility in a very distant place, supplies becomes very difficult. Transport also becomes difficult. So these are external factors that affect your delivery. For example, like you have your facility in a very remote place. For you to get supplies, or maybe you have any emergency in that place, you cannot get supplies immediately, that it will affect your response time. So these are external factors that we really cannot do any much about, but we only have to put a contingency plan so that to take care of the situation if they happen. Now we also have the internal factors. These are ones that are within our control. For example, building age and condition. The building age and condition will affect your deliverable, will affect your work. For example, you want to maintain a generator that is already 20 years old. You'll be sure that you'll be having repeated breakdown of the generator. So the condition of the facility is an internal factor that affects quality delivery. Therefore, when we want to improve our quality, we look at the condition and we see what we can do. For example, for the such generator, you cannot run them for 250 run hour. You must reduce the run hour so that you can meet up the maintenance need. age, gender, and pay scales of employees. Now, when you have age issue, for example, recently I wanted to fix the tile on in my house on the floor, and I looked for tiler like for 2 weeks. I couldn't get anybody. When I eventually got somebody, it was an old man, kind of, you know, and I was wondering, where are the young people? Where are the young people that, you know, they are supposed to be in this discipline? The man was telling me now that young people don't want to do this, you know, and that is really affecting. If you look at the technicians too, you don't see a lot of young people, you know, doing it. And that's why when you have the old people doing the tech, in the technical team, it becomes a problem because some of them take their time before they move to do anything. You can tell, oh, go and do this. Say, okay, hold on, I'm coming, I will do it. And they kind of slow. So age, gender, and pay scales of employees affect quality. They influence quality improvement. Building design also, sometimes there are some design that you can't even do maintenance on that kind of building. The design affects or impedes maintenance. Age, number, and working condition of FM equipment. FM equipment, are they in good order? So these are all internal issues. Employee work schedule. Sometimes you have employees that for some facilities, maybe they have a particular employee or a particular technician that they like to work with, you know. Because of that, you push all the work to that technician. That way the work schedule is affected, or you are managing a very huge facility where you have a lot of, for example, a lot of ACs to work with. It affects the deliverable. Evidence of employee training. How often do you train your employee with the new things that are happening, with the new technology that are coming up? How often do you train? This training can be expensive and company may not be able to send people for that training. So these are things that influence quality. Ratio of supervision to frontline employees. Sometimes we have just one supervisor and so many people to supervise. That way, the supervisor can really not, you know, have good oversight of that facility. Your boss expectations and performance standard. Sometimes your boss will push you beyond necessary just for you to deliver, especially when he's under pressure. So sometimes you don't look at the performance standard again. You just try to fix things. So that these are all internal issues. All right. These are quality tools or quality metrics that helps to determine quality. Okay. For example, we have the cost per square foot. We have the cost per square foot. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, trying to get something. All right, so we have the cost per square foot. This measure the cost efficiency of space utilization. This metric helps you to measure the cost efficiency of space utilization. We have the cost per labor hour. This evaluates labor cost efficiency. These are metrics you put together to measure what you are doing. Then we have the supply cost per square foot. This analyzes the cost of supplies relative to space. What you are supplying relative to the space that you have. We have the percentage of FM budget to overall budget. This assesses the FM department budget to overall budget, the organization budget, and what is the FM's budget to the overall budget. Now we have the cost per acre. This determines cost efficiency per unit of a land. Then we have the number of employees per square foot. This measures space utilization efficiency. All these metrics are things you come up with to check how you can utilize your space. You can utilize your labor cost, and check your labor cost efficiency, to check your cost of supplies and all that. We also have the number of work orders processed per employee. You want to check the number of work order processed by employee. Sometimes you also need to check the number of work processed in that location, in that facility. You want to also check the number of work order processed per trade, whether plumbing, whether electrical, whether civil, whether AC. You want to look at the number of work order processed, because this will help you to determine what work is more frequent in that site. The number of kilowatt hour used per building. You also want to check your energy consumption. So these are metrics that we use to check if we are improving in the work we are doing. You also want to check the number of sick days per employees. Your employee, how many of them are always complaining? In a month, how many people are taking sick leave? Because it's a measure, it's something that will check if their well-being is being looked into, because it indicates employee well-being and potential productivity losses. So if employee they are well-to-do, definitely it will affect productivity. But if they are not in good health, definitely it will affect productivity negatively. So those are the metrics that we use to improve our quality delivery. And these are metrics that are used in the industry. All right. So those are the definition. Cost per square foot measures the cost efficiency of space utilization. Cost per labor hour evaluates labor cost efficiency. Supply cost per square foot analyzes the cost of supplies. So when you go through this, you read it up and then understand all the metrics. All right, quality improvement in FM workforce. Like we said, quality is all about engagement of people. You as an FM, you cannot do it alone. Your manager cannot do it alone. Management cannot do it alone. Therefore, it involves engagement of people. And when you engage people, you need to treat them the way they want to be treated. In fact, sometimes you treat them beyond, treat them better so that they can deliver on the results. Give them open communication as to what work and quality standard are expected of them. Sometimes you please mute your mic. Sometimes you are required to train your technician, your employees, and so that they'll be able to deliver on the objectives of the customer. All right, as individual whom you can give praise and feedback to. Also, it's necessary that we give praise and feedback to our employee. Sometimes, we think salary is the only motivation. No, salary is just the minimum. For one, is the minimum form of motivation. Praises can do a lot. As individual, you can be open and direct with, yet respectful. Show some respect to those that are working with you. Treat them as those that are valued for their feedback in your FM. Like I said, this involves engagement of people. Try as much as possible to implement their ideas. When employees come with idea, try as much as possible to implement them. They come with good idea, encourage them, and show them that idea can be implemented. It goes a long way, because when the idea is coming from them, When initiative is coming from them, you see they do everything possible to ensure that the work is done well. Okay, by giving them a fair living wage. We talk about salary. You know, some years ago, I discovered that technicians were not well paid. You know, you can see a technician that is paid 50,000, and I'll be wondering, what would this 50,000 do? But, you know, we have encouraged technicians to also develop themselves so that they will be multi-skilled. Because right now, a multi-skilled technician cannot earn anything less than 150,000. So when you are multi-skilled, you know, you have the opportunity to do a good negotiation. All right. Quality improvement in the FM workforce. We're still talking about the output of when you train people, when you train them, when you bring a more engaged workforce, the output is always a good one. This is 6:01. We'll take a 4-minute break. And when we come back, we continue with the quality improvement in the FM workforce. Let's take a 4-minute break. All right. Barakat, can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
We can hear you,
We
sir.
can hear you, sir.
Okay, good. I just want to confirm. So we've talked about quality. Now let me just get one or two questions or feedback from the class. Anybody want to give us a feedback or a question before we go into this second um, round of?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Okay, so while you are discussing about quality, you are saying something about as a facility manager, one of the key things that you need to put at the back of your mind is you are looking at anything you are doing has to be at a good rate, on a good cost. But what if you find out that at the end of the day, what you are trying to achieve, the cost is not something that is going to come easy. And being that one of the key points is you need to look at, find a way to make sure that you get this done with a low cost budget. Let me put that in quotes. So what will you advise that someone should take into the measure to, to achieve something related to that? Because like my experience in the facility world, I found out that there are some things that you are going to do. I've been in that situation. They will tell you, this is what we want. This is the quality of what we want, which they know that for you to get that job done and for you to get the best, you need to like go for, in quotes, an expert or a professional in that field. What will be your advice in that kind of, if somebody is fall in that kind of a scenario?
Okay, so from what you do is this: you must always present scenarios to your clients, and you put justification for every scenario that you are presenting. For example, you can show them that if you do this, using this scenario, this is the kind of result we will get, and this is the kind of cost. Give him another scenario, this, based on what you are saying. This is what we will get, this is the result. You can even give him a third scenario or option, and you will now present your three options with justification, So let him be the person that will say, okay, we can't do this because it's too expensive, or we can't do this because it's too low quality and all that. This is what we can do. That way you have secured an agreement with him. You understand? Um, you don't just give to your client one scenario, you understand, one option to say, okay, this is it, or this is the best. Or give him multiple options, give him, something to choose from. That way you can even, in a way, influence him to go with what you want to do. So initiative means coming up with a lot of things that can better the process. We also, of course, we need to look at cost, which is very, very important. And like I said, you can't come up with a flamboyant thing, oh, beautiful, good, and everything, but they don't have the money to implement. So what you do is that give scenario, give options, so that at the end of the day, you allow the client to decide on, the direction to go. Then
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. All right. So any other question or contribution before we continue? All right. When you implement all these quality um, improvement steps, especially with your workforce, what you gain, what you achieve by doing all this is to have a more engaged workforce. You see that your workforce, your workers will be giving you better feedbacks. They won't be hiding things. They will always come with, good feedback. Increase ideas for workplace improvement. Ideas will be coming out, like just like I said, even when you tell the technician this is what he wants to do, or you want him to do, he will come up with options, and you now review the options and decide on they want to go with. Okay, less absenteeism from the workplace. You won't wake up one morning and you get to work and you'll be told that your technician that was supposed to do night duty is not there because he's sick or something, or he didn't even call in. So this is one way of reducing that. Fewer interpersonal conflict in the workplace, less staff turnover, less hiring and firing, greater staff productivity, reduced cost due to sick time and other missed work. So you reduce cost due to sick time and other missed work for the organization. A happier workforce, less accidents, more promotions, and employees wanting to learn new skills. So if you engage your employees very well, using all that quality improvement steps, this is the outcome. This is the output. You have more employees wanting to be part of the system. All right. So this is the 4 points of training employee of planning. We said something about the plan, do, check, and act. You put up a plan. When you finish planning, planning takes a lot of painstaking brainstorming and all that. When you put all that together and you come up with a plan, the next thing is to execute, the do. The do there means execution of that plan. For example, you draw up a schedule for facilities management, facilities management schedule, maintenance schedule. After putting all the resources in place, putting all the steps and the requirement for that maintenance, you need to execute. You need to execute. And when you execute, that is the doing. Then while executing, you need to check, and that is what we call the monitoring and evaluation. You need to check whether that plan is working, whether that plan is delivering the kind of results that you need. Then the last one is to act. If there's a deviation from plan, if there's a deviation to the output, like you plan to get a particular output, and from your checking, your monitoring, you are seeing that that output is not going to happen, then you quickly act. For example, you want to excavate, and all of a sudden you sense that there's going to be rain, or you want to mix concrete and all that, and you say there's going to be rain. You need to quickly begin to make a contingency plan. It's either you stop the work and get your people together and act, to mitigate that issue. So when you plan, you do, you check, and you act. And the act is to look around you. Whatever has changed, you correct whatever has changed. The same way that applies to your workers. The first step is to train the employee. Let them know the requirement. Number one, let them know the job requirements. They must have the job requirements. Number two, they need to know the objective of what they are doing. Because sometimes they don't know customer requirement. They just want to go and do the work like that, themselves and go. For example, a technician, an AC technician enters an office to service the AC. In his mind, it's just to service the AC and ensure that the AC is working well. But he forgot that the environment is also important. When you finish cleaning the AC, you must restore the environment back to the original state. So you won't be doing a good work by messing up the environment, even though you fix the AC and it's working well. So you need to let them understand customer requirements. Good. Also, the next step is to allow the employee to do the work while you are monitoring. And when you are monitoring, you are checking them, you are evaluating them, you are giving them constructive feedbacks so that they can do the work well. Then for employees that still have gaps, what you do is to retrain them and bring them on. So it's a cycle. You plan, you do, you check, and you act. A cycle that continues because you want to improve your workforce, you want to improve the people that are working with you. All right, quality indicator, FM quality indicator. So we have 3 quality indicators: the prescriptive SLA, the performance-based SLA, and the output SLA. We'll take a little time to discuss this because this is a a term that you will always come or you will always be talking about. And when you are talking to your clients, you just don't come and talk, you talk based on fact, based on SLAs, showing them how you are meeting up the service level agreement. A service level agreement is a physical document that is a legally binding service agreement between the FM department and a user of service consisting of such business topics of safety, quality, staffing, and all, etc. So the service level agreement is embedded in our contract. In it, there are criteria, there are KPIs that must be met. It might be safety. For example, the document will state that in this facility, we must not have any fire incident. So fire outbreak is 0. So if you are managing that facility, you must ensure that you do everything during your maintenance of your electrical, especially the electrical system, to ensure that there is no fire outbreak in that facility. Some can be, okay, we don't want any injury in this facility, or we don't want any emergency that will spiral out of control. So there are so many things that are in the essay, that in the document, that you must abide to. Now, like I said, there are 3 types of SLA. We have the prescriptive SLA, we have the performance-based SLA, we have the output SLA. The SLA describes a service level acceptable to meet customer requirements. The description of service level acceptable to meet customer requirement. It provides a framework for monitoring actual services. So the SLA provides a framework for monitoring actual services. So this is a monitoring tool that the client will use, and you too will use to monitor your service delivery. Because when you come to a business performance review, what we'll be talking about is the SLA, because everything in the scorecard, both financial, service, operational, and all that, will be all about your SLA. So we talked about the type of SLA. We said prescriptive SLA. This SLA dictates exactly what will be done. In this kind of SLA, it is more like a procedure. It is not after the output. It is not after what you want to deliver to the customer. For example, you want to supply 20 or maybe 50 air conditioner to your client. The output is that you supply the 20 air conditioner in good condition. But this kind of SLA doesn't look at that supply. It looks at the procedure, the process you followed in supplying it. Like number 1, it will tell you that the truck that will bring the AC to my facility must be this kind of truck, must be a truck that has already been checked, inspected. So if you come to that, if you supply that AC with a different kind of truck, you have missed that SLA. You have failed in that SLA. So it's not about the output. It's not about the service. It was about how the work is done. It's about how the task will be performed and the frequency. How often do you want to perform that task? And it has specific inputs. And it is restrictive, as in there are things you must not do. There are things you must do before you do the next thing. For example, if you are working in an establishment that do permit to work before they carry out any work, you must go through the permit to work process and get your permit approved before you carry out the job. So this SLA is more of prescriptive. And when you go to organization, especially multinational, they don't look at what you are bringing. They don't look at the service. They don't look at the supply. They don't look at the finished product. They're looking at the process you followed to get to that point. They can be very, very safety critical. They want to see if you do your toolbox stock before you carry out the job. They want to see if you do a mobilization and to check that everything is on ground before you started the work. So it is more prescriptive, it is more procedure. Example of this kind of SLA is the service provider shall conduct a thorough site survey to identify all areas and conditions attractive or susceptible. For example, you want to carry out a work in a particular site. The SLA will first tell you that, look, do a kind of site survey. Don't just go straight and do the work. The first thing you do a site inspection to ensure that the place is safe for you to carry out the work. All right. Another SLA that we have is the performance-based. This is a typical set of quality-related targets. This one is about requirements. For example, your customer have requirements that you need to meet. For example, customer satisfaction index for me, your customer or your client should be 90%. PPM compliance should be 100%. You know, availability of equipment should be 100%. Those are requirements. So they don't look at the prescriptive whatever. They don't look at the procedure or the process. They are looking at their requirements. They don't know how, anyhow you want to get it. But when we come to measure, we want to check that all these requirements are met. They focus more on outputs as compared to prescriptive specifications. They focus more on the output specification, but prescriptive SLA focus on the processes, the procedures. All right, and the last one there is the output base. Now, output base is just simple. I don't want to know how you got this AC. I don't want to know how you got this AC to my office. What I want is my 20 AC. I don't want to know how you do it. You know, that's why when you go to some sites that are not safety conscious, you see some people will climbing sanction tank without harness belt. You know, in some organizations that are safety conscious, they will put that in their prescriptive SLA that you cannot climb that sanction without annex belt. But some other organization will just tell you, what I need is that water should be, that the tank should be on the sanction. So anyhow you want to do it, just deliver that output. I don't know if you are getting the difference. So we're looking at prescriptive, we're looking at performance-based, which is based on requirements, specification, and all that. Prescriptive is based on process and procedure, following process and procedure. Output is based only on the output. Nobody wants to know, for example, you have a contract, a grass cutting contract, a ground maintenance of say 25,000 hectares of land, and the owner of the land said, I just want this grass to be level. If you want to employ the whole of Lagos State to come and do it, it's your business. If you want to use just one person to do it, it's your business. I'm going to still pay you your money, right? But what I need is the output. But some other people will say, no, I need maybe 20 numbers of workers to be there. If you come with anything less, I won't pay you, even if you finish the work. So those are the difference between the SLA. So in your contract, that's why we encourage people to take their time to read contracts, because some contracts, most contracts for multinationals are mainly prescriptive, because those companies are safety conscious. They know how much effect it will be on them, negative effect it will have on them if they evaluate safety. There's some multinational that if there's any safety issue, it is not the person that is involved in the answer, it's not the manager, it's the MD or the CEO of that company that will answer. So because of that, they prefer a prescriptive SLA that will tell you procedure, work method statement of how to do a work, right? So when we pick up our contract, we need to understand what kind of SLA. Is it prescriptive? Because you might do the work, but yet you'll be scored low because you miss some, key steps in the process or procedure. I don't know if anybody has any question about SLA, because this is very key to to FM. Any question about SLA? All right, I guess there's no question. So the next thing we want to look at is benchmarking. With TED benchmarking, the overall benchmarking in FM is a systematic process of comparing performance processes and practices to identify opportunities for improvement. I remember some time ago when we were working in Shell as an FM. So the GM, a very funny man, he would just come and tell us that, look, you guys are not working. You guys are not doing anything. You are just moving around with your eyes in your pockets. You should remove your eyes from your pocket and put it in your socket so that you can see the defects in the facility. You know, and we are wondering, this is the place we've been working, at least the place is good, you know, but we realize that if you stay long in a place, I mean, after some time, defects will become natural to you. Defects will become normalized. You can walk into an office and say a broken tile, and it will mean nothing to you because maybe you've seen it over and over and over again. So sometimes you need a new set of eyes. Sometimes what we do is to, okay, get FM from another zone or from another location, come and do a management by walk around with me so that we can, you know, identify issue. And we see that it was working because when you bring a different person, you know, to your facility to just do inspection for you, you see that the person will be able to pick defects, you know, from that facility. So the man told us that, look, for us to do well, let us go to TAL. We were in Shell. He said, okay, go to TAL, go and see what they are doing, go and see how their FM operation is. And with that, you can come with the ideas you picked there and implement here. We did that, and it helped our, you know, it improved our work. So sometimes you need to look at what others are doing, you know, bring it into your system and improve your work. So that's all about benchmarking. So we have external benchmarking. You can get your ideas from a proven FM industry. You know, you can get your idea from social medias, internet. Yes, you can use the internet, you know, to look for information, credible information. You know, things that you can bring in and improve your service. Like somebody was sharing with me that he went to Dubai, and every time he's going to the restroom to relieve himself, immediately he comes out, a white man will just walk in the restroom, and he will be wondering. He used the restroom for like 3 times, you know, during the period that he was there for that training, and immediately he comes out, he will see this white boy just, you know, walking into the restroom, and he was wondering, is this guy stalking me or something, you know? And last day he just called the guy saying, why is it that when I leave the restroom, you are going in? He said, that's the way to show that, you know, he is working, that there is a sensor in that restroom that, you know, once anybody goes to use the restroom, it will send a message to him that somebody has used the restroom. And once the person is coming out, it's going to send a message to him. And once that person is coming out, he is going to go to that restroom to ensure that everything is clean and all that. That it is their KPI, is their SLA, that what they do is that at the end of the month, they will calculate if he has 100%, I mean 100% of the time is going to check the restroom as people are coming out, is going to get, you know, his full salary and a bonus of about 25% to his money. But if for any reason he doesn't make that 100%, meaning that people went to use the restroom and left the restroom, but he didn't go to check, that is going to, if it scores like 90%, they are going to fine him. They are going to pay him for 90%, you know, of his salary. They are not going to pay him his full salary. But if he gets 100%, they are going to pay him 100% of the salary plus 25% bonus. So that's the way of, improving their quality. That is a way of, driving people to do their work. And if you have that kind of, information, you can say, okay, we can bring that to my facility. Because I tell you, restroom check in that cleaners hardly do. If you bring that kind of, carrot and stick approach, if you meet the 100%, we pay you 25%, in addition to your 100% salary. But if you make less than 100%, we pay you that the much you've done. So that way, people will be steered up and we can maintain quality. That's a way of doing things that I think we can adopt here. And then an equally compelling source, FM quality improvement matrix, and operational benchmarking through membership with BOMA, IFMA, and APPA. So if you are a member of all these facilities management organization, association, when you go to their meetings and all that, like for IFMA, there's one they are having in the US, workplace management. They are having that in the US in July. So when you go to that kind of forum, you learn new things, you see best practice, and which you can adopt in your own system. All right. Let us look at some quality statistical tools. All right. We have 7 quality control tools. These are tools you can use to make decisions, about quality. For example, you have the Pareto chart, you have the check sheet, you have the scatter diagram, you have the control chart, you have the histogram, you have the flow chart, you have the cause and effect diagram. So these are quality control that you can use to do your work. For example, the Pareto chart rank causes from most significant to least significant. Now, what this chart is trying to say is that there are causes to things. So when you are ranking it, the cause and effect, that 80% of the things that happen, the things that go wrong in our facility is caused by 20%. So you want to rank these things according to how it affects the work. So the Pareto chart will help you determine those 20% that result to that 80% effect. We also have the flow chart. It's kind of a represent if the flow of process that's from the beginning of, for example, you are doing a request handling process. You know that once there's a request, once there's a default, once there's an effect, the next thing is to, go and check the nature of that defect. Where after that you scope it, you get an approval, and after that you now check, send it to the technician to close out. So the flow chart is a qualitative tool. It tells you step by step what to do. So there are others will just, then we have the histogram. Of course, the histogram is something that we can easily use. For example, if you want to check the frequency of your trade, like you want to check the frequency of your work done in the electrical area, work done in the plumbing or AC area, this is a chart that will be able to make you see clearly what you are doing. Then we have what we call the check sheets. We have what we call the root cause analysis. Like we said the other day, that this is very key because it doesn't only address the correction. You go beyond just putting a correction to that issue. You look for the root cause of that issue. And once you get the root cause of any issue, you discover that it will give you a better answer, as in, you know that that issue may not occur again. So once we do a root cause, then we can implement a corrective action. For example, there's an accident, you know, in your facility, and the immediate cause is that the guy fell from the from the ladder or something. That is the immediate cause. But the root cause could be that he has not eaten at all that morning, or and why hasn't he? Why is he hungry? Is because he doesn't have money to buy the food. So that's the root cause. So you go beyond the immediate cause to the root cause, and how to address that is to ensure that you improve on the salary of that individual, and you ensure that he eats before engaging on any work. So we talked about flow charts, you know, from one step to the other. For example, from the flow chart you are looking at, it said lamp does not work. That is the issue. What is the next step? Lamp, you check if the lamp is well plugged. If it is not well plugged, you plug it in. But if it is well plugged, you check if the bulb is burnt. If the bulb is not burnt, then if the bulb is burnt, you replace it. But if the bulb is not burnt, it means that you need to repair the lamp. So this is, if the flow chart is a qualitative tool which tells you step by step from input to the output of the issue. So we talked a little about the Pareto chart. The Pareto chart is the 80%. It said that 80% effect come from 20% of possible causes. So when you draw this chart, you want to look at those 20% things that can affect the 80%, that affect 80%. So the Pareto chart helps you to do that. Then we have the cause and effect diagram. The cause and effect diagram is saying for any issue, there is more than one cause for any issue. So as an FM, you have an issue, you need to check what are the causes to that, what could be the cause of that issue. For example, this cause and effect diagram is saying low website traffic. You know, the people in the office, they are complaining that the site is slow and all that, no internet and all that. Now, for you to analyze that problem, you must look at a lot of causes that might result to this effect. Number one could be the price. Number two could be the place. Number three can be the package you are working on. Number four can be the number of people on that network and all that. So these are various causes that you can look at, analyze, before you can now come to a conclusion that these are the things that are causing the problem. And when you take care of these causes, you also take care of the effects. Now we have scatter diagram. Scatter diagram is used to compare two variables. Now, when you are dealing with two variables, you use scatter diagram to compare. And as you are plotting the graph, it will show you what variable you can adopt. It helps you to decide on a particular variable to adopt. Now we have the control chart. The control chart is mainly for electrical control. You have in the middle there, you have the balance, you have the average line. Anything that is above the line and or below the line means that you need to control it to stay within. Although you have this control limit, so that with anything that is happening within that limit, you know that, okay, it's working well. For example, you are monitoring the sound of your generator, you know, and you see that, okay, it's within the limit, then you won't do anything. But if it is outside the limits, then you need to do something about it. So all these are quality control tools that you use in deciding, making decision on the kind of action to take to correct an issue. Key performance indicators. We have the profitability is a key performance indicator. You see, number one thing there is profitability. So one way for you to achieve profitability is cost control, cost management. Ensure you have full control of your cost. Operating expenditures, customer satisfaction, customer retention. Do you retain your customer? What do you do to ensure that after the contract year is over, maybe your contract is expiring, there will be a renewal? So the sustainability, performance, employee recruitment effectiveness. How is your employee recruitment? Is it effective? Do you get the right people to do the work, or are the right people doing the work? Employee absentee, turnover, workplace productivity. So these are KPIs that are embedded in contracts that you can use in measuring your performance. All right. I think we are good to go. Now, this is the Toyota 14 quality management principle. Toyota came up with this quality management principle because they discovered that it's very, very important. After they had to recall over 1,000, more than 1,000 vehicles, their products from the market because of a faulty brake system. So they came up with this 14 quality management principle, which is their guiding principle in their manufacturing. And this principle can work with any organization. It said, base your management decision on long-term philosophy, even at the expense of short-term financial goals. So sometimes do not base on, that for this year you need to make it all. No, you need to put a long-term philosophy, a long-term plan that you will be able to get returns. For example, we talked about prescriptive, what's it called? Predictive maintenance strategy. And we said that predictive maintenance strategy is very good. However, it has that initial high cost. But if you take this principle, this philosophy of long term, you get all the equipment, you get all the devices, and you implement a predictive maintenance strategy, you see that number one, you get a functional system. I mean, your facility, your asset will be working well. Number two, you save costs in the long run. But if you want to deploy the preventive maintenance, which is, you can easily see the cost you are saving, you may not get the kind of result with compared to the predictive maintenance strategy. The second principle is there that create continuous process flow to bring problems to the surface. We looked at the flow chart that we saw. Create a continuous process flow. That way it's easy to pinpoint where the problem is. Number three, say use pool system to avoid overproduction. Deliver to meet customer requirements. Always deliver to meet customer requirements. For you to deliver to meet customer requirement, number one, you must do a customer requirement review. You do this review to understand what the customer requirement is. Number two, you communicate this requirement to your team members, because if you are the only one that understands the requirement, you are not going to be the only one that is going to do the job. So communicate this customer requirement to those that are working with you. Level out workload, very importantly. Build a culture of stopping to fix problem. We said something about the plan, do, check, and act. You don't just plan. After planning, you just continue to do and execute. You must check, you must monitor, you must stop to see what has changed so that you'll be able to get things done and get it right the first time. Standardize tasks. You must standardize your tasks so that every day you are coming to do that particular task. You won't say, oh, because you know how to do it, I won't use a checklist to do the work. Go always to do it with a checklist. That way you are used to that task. It becomes a standard task and gives room for what? Continuous improvement. Use only reliable, thoroughly tested technology and supply chain. So supply is very important. I know that even when you have good FM on ground, you have good technicians on ground. If you don't use the right material, then there's a problem. If you work with a multinational company, they have their approved suppliers. But even the suppliers, they will tell the suppliers the people that they patronize. For example, Shell, if you want to supply anything electrical in Shell, they will tell you that go and buy it from ABB. You must buy from ABB. You can't buy from any other manufacturer, OEM. So they tell you the exact OEM to buy from, so that they are sure that even though you are a supplier, you must definitely supply the right product. So in case there is any issue, they can trace it back to the OEM. Grow leaders who thoroughly understand the work, live the philosophy, and teach it to others. Develop exceptional people and teams who follow your company's philosophy. Your people must follow your company's philosophy. Respect your extended network of partners and suppliers by challenging them to improve. Go and see for yourself. This is very important. You know, yes, you are FM, you are managing a very huge facility, and you think your eyes cannot be everywhere. There's no way you can cover everywhere, as just one person. You must develop a strategy to help you see things for yourself. Because if you don't see things for yourself, you might end up doing the wrong thing. So this is also important. Become a learning organization through relentless reflection and continuous improvement. There's what we call learning from incident, learning from work, learning from operations. In everything you are doing, make sure you put down a learning so that you can always go back to it and then, see how that situation was dealt with. So those are the 14 quality management principles by Toyota, which is very important. You go through them and see how you can implement them in your work. In summary, quality service in FM industry may include a visually clean and well-maintained buildings, work processes that are in alignment with strategic directions, and deliver consistent and effective operational outcome. So when you have a work process that is aligns with strategic directions and deliver consistent and effective operational outcome, that is, every time you are delivering, your outcome is as good as the one you delivered yesterday, then you are delivering quality. Then it says service level agreement is determined by customers. So service level agreement is determined by customer. Now, some customers might give you a service level agreement that is outrageous. I remember recently when we trying to sign off a contract with a client, and just before we signed, we now said, okay, let's just look at the service level agreement. Let's see the SLA. And we saw that the SLAs were so outrageous. For example, they said if there's power cuts, power outage, and you don't fix it after 15 minutes, you pay a fine of 10,000 naira. And for every 2 minutes, when you cannot, restore power, you'll be paying that amount, 10,000 naira. We said, no, this is not service level agreement. This is, number one, the kind of we want to give you. Number one, you will be the one to even approve the job to start with. Supposing you delayed in approving the work, what happens to us? We look at other SLAs, outrageous thing, outrageous fines. We say, no, please go and revise your SLA and return to us. So even though they are the one to determine the SLA, you need to review it. Sometimes they don't really understand, how it works. Somebody can just sit down, maybe a procurement person that is not into FM, will just decide on the kind of SLA to put down. It is you as an FM, based on your experience, look at the SLA, look at all the penalty and tell them, no, this won't work, this will work. Let us adjust and agree. Quality control tools include, we talked about the quality control tools. So these are the tools that you use to control your output, control your processes to deliver the right output. Okay, at this point, I think we've come to the end of today's class. I would entertain some questions so that we can just talk through and close for the day. Any question? Any question? Hello, Barakat. Hope you are seeing my screen. This one, nobody is saying anything.
I can see your screen, sir.
Okay.
We can see your
We can
screen.
hear you very well, sir. We can see your screen also.
All right. So,
Okay, so I want to ask a question, not really related to quality, but there are some challenges where we've been going through in my company for the past 2 weeks now. So I feel I know the answer to it anyway, but let me just say it here. So maybe you advise the proper way that we can go about it. So I've been discussing with my boss, and I've been letting her know that sometimes I just get called. An office has been opened somewhere. We have offices in another place, another apartment, in the airport, in Kaduna, so places that. And when we're making choices of these offices, the facility management team are not taking along to at least check out these offices to make sure that they meet the real office spaces standard and all that. So one challenge we're having recently now is the fact that we're looking from a facility in VI, and suddenly this book just came, the facility book they just came and said we are going to be replacing 700, over 700 bulbs. The ceiling, any ceiling that has holes, we are going to, you know, have to restore it back to the way we met it before, that none of the ceilings had holes, even the sockets that got broken. They are claiming that we are the ones that broke all of them without any proof that, oh, this is how we met it, no picture, no video, nothing like that. And we on our own end, the tenant who leads that particular apartment, we don't have any agreement signed that, oh, we are going to
okay.
replace that. There was no payment of caution fee also, and we don't have a picture of how the place was before we took it, because of course when this place was taken, I just get a call from my boss. We have to do office then. Oh, yeah, in fact, most of the offices, if I get there, a contractor has already, designed the office space the way he wants it, with the way my boss wants it to be. If I get there, so when I just get there, all I have to do is take record of everything that we have there, the condition of those items and everything. So we don't get to know when or at the condition of that place, that particular facility before entering that place. So that's what we are facing right now. So now, in terms of delivering quality, because our lawyers are insisting that we must leave that place in the best possible form. So in terms of delivering quality, how do I put it? On the question of delivering quality now, to restore that place back to the way it was before. Should we go? Do you think it's advisable for us to go ahead and, for example, my boss was saying, buy the worst possible bulb collection in the market and replace it as long as it comes on? I don't know if you get me. Like, well,
Yeah,
you
I
see like
understand.
700 bulbs. My boss is she was just telling me that go and get the cheapest bulb in the market and replace those bulbs with them. After all, we did not know the condition of the bulbs that they gave us. How come there are 700 bulbs that are bad in just 2 years of being in that facility? So what would you
Okay.
advise, sir?
So the issue here is more of contracting, right? It wasn't. It's more of contracting. Number one, due diligence was not done on that facility. Facility condition assessment was not done, and now even if you have to replace the bulbs, um, is it at your cost? What kind of arrangement do you have? Is it a lump sum contract, or is it how do I put it now? how do you handle this replacement? Because that will determine the kind of action you will take. For example, if it's a lump sum contract, it means you've been paid, so you just come and fix it. Then you need to do something about it. But if it is not, what you can do is to highlight all the bulbs that are bad, right? And then scope it and draw up a cost and send it to the client. Tell him that, okay, this is, you say 700 bulb and this will cost us so amount to get this type of bulb. If he signs up and said, okay, go ahead and fix, then you signs up and you go ahead and fix. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Are you there?
Yes, sir. I do.
Okay. Or if it is something that maybe is a lump sum, okay, they are paying you people to come and do. That's where the problem is. You can now decide on getting any kind of bulb to fix. But right now, it's something you need to sit with the client and say, okay, if they are going to pay for it, this is the cost. This is the budget for that. And then
we are the ones paying for it. In fact, there's a particular work there, the demarcation of the office, the way it was marketed before we got there. Because normally the floor, the way they built it was supposed to take 4 companies. But we got there, took the whole floor. So we had to remove the demarcations. So I was even suggesting to my boss that let's get the contractor who actually did the demarcation for them in the first place. But she's so angry, believing that they want to cheat.
The thing is that who is going to pay? Who is going to pay for that work?
We are the ones that is going to pay.
So how do you get your money back?
We're not getting our money back. They're telling us that this is a cost that we must bear. So is it signed somewhere in the lease agreement? That's what we're asking our lawyers to go through now. But
okay, so like I said, it's
coming back to tell us that yes.
So it's a contract, is a contracting problem. So let them look at the contract and see the kind of agreement that was entered into. All right, that's just the best way to look at it.
No problem. Thank you very much.
All right. Any other question or contribution?
Right. I have a question. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
All right. My question is in respect to what is happening right now in the country, most especially about Band A, Band C, Band D. So my question is because I know tonight we're talking about everything about quality service to our customers, our tenants, and our clients. And if they are satisfied, it means that we have done our job successfully. Beginning of this year, we increased for where I'm working. I manage a mall. We increased our service charge because we've not increased our service charge for over 7 years. So we just increased it like 20% increase this January. And unfortunately, by by March, April, we had this issue of Band A, Band B, with also an increase in our diesel price.
Okay.
So I've been having this issue within myself and my team that, okay, do we need to go back to these people again and have a meeting, like a town hall meeting with them, letting them know that, look, even the increments we did in January cannot suffice anymore, and there will be a need for us to again do an increment looking at the present condition. I know that I discussed it with my team, and some people were like, no, we can't go back. And people say, oh, we have to let them know. I say, no. But I just feel that this is something that I can just bring to the house, perhaps, because I know that at this moment, we're actually doing, I was getting a bill of 9.5, it's a 9.5, 10 million for my NEPA bill. But from March and April, I started getting, no, from April, I started getting 22.5. April, May, this May, when I got the bill, 21.6. So I can't continue. It's not achievable for me. So that's why I just brought this question back, because I know that there's no way I can satisfy them at the expense of, I'm not making anything at this point.
Yeah, so that you just need to have an engagement with them. And before you do that engagement, you must have, done your own calculation and decide on, where to peg the new rates. Because of course, many especially residential area, they are facing that same problem. Even in Banana Island, I have a friend that's working there. Um, so they moved from about 2 million per flat, to over 6 million or so. you know so you need to engage the occupants. You need to have an engagement session, but before you do that, peg it, make your own calculation, and to ensure that whenever you are telling them now, you'll be able to justify it and then peg it. They too, they know the situation. The situation is very clear to everybody. All of us that we are facing it. So that's what you need to do. You need to have that engagement with them, but sit with your team and agree on, where to peg the new rates, and be as objective as possible. From your calculation, you already know that, okay, this is what you are spending, this is what EKDC is giving to you, and this should be the new rates um, for each occupant. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. All right. I think we should call it a day today, and let's
Yeah,
just.
good evening, sir.
Okay. Good evening.
Yes, sir. Please, I just want to remind you, regards the last class, we talked about the facility template that Baraka need to send to us in the
Okay.
group. We are yet to get it.
Okay. Okay. So I'll talk to Barakat. Barakat, meet with me later, maybe tomorrow, so that we can look through and send them. We'll drop that with
So
them.
that we can have a guideline, sir. Thank you. God bless you.
Yeah. All right. All right. Thank you all. I think we should
Thank you,
call it a
sir.
day. Yeah. Right. Good night. Have a very good week.